So in this video we'll import data from another sheet or import data from multiple sheets, and we'll see what type of problems we could have and what could be some potential solution for those problems. So let's see what we have here. We have this tab. This is where we're going to import our data, and we have this other sheets. There's this one that is just 2015 one tab and some data. Then there's also this other sheet that has two tabs, one 2016 tab, one 2017 tab. So I'm going to go ahead and start importing data from this sheet to this other file. So if you've ever done this before, you probably know you have to use a function called IMPORTRANGE. Otherwise, if you don't, this will be the first time. So I'm going to start with equal sign and then import range. There's the function. So the first thing is my spreadsheet URL. It needs to be as a string. So must be in code, so double quotes here. I'm going to go to this other tab where the file is now. You could just simply copy this, go back here and paste it right there. So include the entire URL. After I did that, I'm going to hit comma, and then it says range string. So this is the range where my data is. So here it's from A1 through G13. So in quotes because it's text A1 through G13. So this range string must be text. So I'm going to go ahead and close this, hit enter. Now once I do this, I get this reference error, and the reason for that is because I need to give access to that other sheet. So I'll go ahead and click allow access, and that's going to allow access. So every first time you do this from one tab to another, you have to make sure you do this, so it gives you that window to basically give access. Now access to the spreadsheet now is going to stay. So if I try to import another range, let's say I just wanted to get these labels, I don't have to allow access every single time to the same spreadsheet. I can now just go and copy that URL again and type import range code, paste code, comma, and then provide the right. So I'm going to say from A1 through C3, hit enter. I don't have to do allow access anymore because I already gave permission. One thing you have to keep in mind is that this permission is going to stay on as long as the user who clicked on that allow access still has permission to edit this file. So once you remove that user from one of the people who are managing this file, that's it, that access is going to stop. Then you will have to give permission again as a different user. So let's go back here. I'm going to delete this. Let's see. So a couple of things here. So the first thing is that when you copy and paste the URL, it gives you this long text. Now another option is to just use the ID of your spreadsheet. The ID of your spreadsheet is actually inside of this URL. So if you pay attention from here through after this d/, that's the first part. So after that you have the ID that follows. So I'm going to delete that part, and then there is going to be this other slash, and we also don't need that part after that. So the URL is between those two slashes. You can just use URL. If it's too complicated for you to do this, then just use the whole link. So going back, this is my import range. So now I set a 1 through G13. So what could go wrong with this? The problem with this reference is that I didn't actually say which tab this range is coming from the other file. So I was importing that range from here, right? So that's my 2017 data. Now by default, import range is going to import everything from your first tab. So if somebody goes to this tab and adds a new sheet here and they start entering some data or not enter data, it doesn't really matter at this point. If I go back to my import range, see it changed. So now this one is our first sheet, and that's what we're importing. So for that reason, it's always a good practice. I'm going to go ahead and delete that to refer to the name of the tab back, and here the name of the tab was called 2017. So before I do the range, I'll do single code 2017 single code again and exclamation sign. So this is your tab name and single codes whatever the tab is called, and then exclamation sign and then the range. So if I enter now, this should import everything from 2017. Now if I go back here and add a tab, start typing, go back, see it doesn't interfere because I did a full reference with my tab name. Great. I'm going to go back and delete this. That's one thing. Now when you're importing ranges, you don't have to import the entire range. You could just import from D2 through D13. So if I go back here, I'm going to change this D2 through D13, and now we're just importing our numbers, and then I can just put this entire function inside of a sum function if necessary. So you can use import range inside of function as if it was a regular range. Hit enter. So that's my total. So as a result of this, if you go back and add a new number here, let's say we're adding another, let's do 20,000. So we can see we go back, this is not going to update because, well, we said from D2 through D13. You can just remove that last row reference, so it will start from D2 and go all the way down in D column. Keep in mind that this will also include blanks in a bottom, but that shouldn't be a problem for us because we're doing a simple sum. So I'm going to hit enter, and if I go back and add another number, it will automatically not update. So delete this. So let's say what I want to do, I want to get my total sales for Illinois and California in this tab. So I'll just type RLCA. So I'm going to do equals. So I can't use SUMIFs for this because when you're dealing with different sheets, SUMIFs doesn't work. SUMIFs will only work in your current spreadsheet. So for that reason, I'm going to use a function called SUMPRODUCT. Open my parentheses. So I'm going to first start with my range of numbers that I'm trying to sum up. So that comes from here. So I'm going to copy that link, and that's all of these sales from D2 and all the way down, right? So I'm going to do import range open code paste the URL comma again and then codes again d2d close parentheses now because I already did use import range function before. I can just go ahead and type some product and use my import range function right inside of this function. But if this is the first time you use import range, you cannot do this. This is not going to work because first you have to just use import range function by itself and give permission. Now I already gave permission, so that's not a problem for me. Now this gets really long really fast if you use the whole URL, and this is why I prefer to just use the ID. So I'm gonna just go until here and delete this. I'm gonna also remove the second part again. You can leave that on, and that's my import range that will give me the range of numbers we're trying to sum up. Now I'm gonna do comma, then I'm gonna do the range where I'm gonna check if it's Illinois or not. So that's G2 all the way down. So because it was the same file, I just copy paste the same thing, and I'm gonna just replace this with G, and in this range we need to make sure that that's Illinois. So I'm gonna say equals this, close my parentheses, hit enter. That should be my total for Illinois, and then I can drag this down, get my total for California. The reason I can actually do this dragging down is because when you drag down this import range function, this references don't work as an actual range. So usually with ranges you have to lock them, because if you drag it down, it's gonna move. Now this is not gonna change because it's text, so this just works. So let's just go check Illinois 138. So let's see if that's accurate. Yes, sales 138. That's right, and California says 586. So let's see how many Californias we have. Oh, so we have just one each. Maybe we should have used a different state. So let's do this one. So 963. So this plus this plus this plus this and plus this. So there it is all the way down here, 963.03, same number. That's good. We get our total. So the idea is that you could take that range and use it as a range inside of a different function, like some product something else. Now let's see what are some potential problems with import range. So I'm gonna just copy this function. I'm gonna do equals and paste it. So this is my column of sales from here through here. What could go wrong with this? So if somebody goes to this tab and they decide, well, you know what? I'm just going to add a new column. What's going to happen is, see, our formulas fail here, and they also fail over here, because what happened is that we set our ranges coming from D2 and D, basically D column now, because we add a new column that shifted, and now our sales is E. So let's see what could be a potential way to fix this. Whether you should fix it or not, it really depends on the size of data. So if you have very large files, it might be best to just leave it the way it is and just manage those columns. If someone adds a column, go fix it, right? But if it's a manageable size of data set, what you could do, you could go by the label of the column. What I'm going to do in my import range function, instead of including this column D, I'm going to save my range of data is going to be from A2 all the way through, and I'll use some column. Let's say age. So now I went from A2 through here. If I'm thinking that we might be adding a lot of columns, that I may go all the way to, let's say, column S or column T, right? So let's actually do that, and that's all the way there. So what can we do to get our sales? So we want to be able to dynamically find our sales where it is and extract it, and to do that, what we're going to do, well, let's take it step by step. So I'm going to just copy this import range function and I'll just paste it here, and what I'm going to do in here, I'm going to use import range for just my labels. So that's going to be from A1 through the same column, which is TT1, and that will just import my labels, which is the first row in that other tab separately. So in this range I'm going to do a search, so I'm going to cut that function and use a function match. So I'm going to use the function match, and the search key is going to be state, because I'm going to be searching for that column state, comma, the range I'm searching it in. It's going to be that import range function, comma, and this is an exact match. So 0, hit enter. That says that's column 7. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, perfect. So we find a state now. We really wanted sales, right, not state. So it should be column number 4, so I'll go back and instead of state I typed sales and we get column number 4, that's good. Now what we need to do, we need to use this information that says column number 4 to just get the column number 4 from here. So I'm going to take this entire import range function. I'm going to do Command X to cut it, or Control X, and then you'll go ahead and start with your function index, and in index function the first thing is the range, so I'm going to just paste that range, comma. Now the next thing is the row. Which row do we want from that range? So if I just type the read and close the C, it's going to give me the third row in that range, so it should be this one, and it is so, but that's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is this, so I don't want a row, so I'm going to skip the row by doing a comma, and then I want the column. Remember, we wanted a column number 4. So I'm going to type 4 for now, hit enter, and you will see how that gets us all of our sales numbers over here. Now what we need to do, we need to just go back and update this. So I'm going to go here and copy this match function without the equals sign, hit escape, go back to my formula, and instead of hard coding for in my formula, I'm going to remove that for and paste my match function. I'm going to hit enter, and that gives me the same results. So this I don't need anymore. I'm gonna delete it. So what's different about this now is that if I go back now and add columns, this will still work because it's gonna go and find the sales column, automatically figure out which column it is and extract it. And now we have our column of values. Now we can just go ahead and put this in our sum function or really any other function, and that should give us our sum of sales. So now it's working more dynamically by finding the column and getting that column from our range. Now if you don't want a hardcode sales in this formula, you could just say, well, I'm gonna have this label here, sales, or you could type it here, doesn't matter, wherever it's gonna be. And in your formula, instead of just saying match sales, you could say match this. I'm gonna hit enter, so that gives me the total. So now if I just come back here, let me actually delete this and this. So if I go back, you should see it's the same thing, same number. But if I change that label to this one, it should automatically not go find that column and get me the total. Now I could do both, directed down my sales and cost of goods, and I'm getting it using the column label. Now obviously this time if somebody changes the label of the column, that will stop working too, right? So if somebody goes and types here sale, it's not a match anymore. So now you have the label problem, so you'll have to decide which way you want to tackle this.